Ventureroos!
Hi!
Welcome back for episode 17 of
A Very Venture Vodcast.
This week we are going to be talking about assisted suicide, which was season 4.2, episode 5.
Or episode 17, depending on how you're looking at the season.
However you want to break it down.
But whatevs. Yep, we want to give our standard disclaimer that if you haven't seen any of season 4, or really seasons 1 through 3 of the Venture Brothers, that you probably shouldn't be watching because we will be spoiling up a storm and you'll get mad and nobody wins.
No bueno. This episode was obviously written by Doc Hammer.
Obviously.
If you were in any doubt about that, you should watch more of the show. This is the first episode that the title wasn't a reference to anything in pop culture,
right,
or a movie or a book.
From the 80s. Yeah. It was, as far as I can tell, like, actual assisted suicide, except that with the Monarch assisting Rusty a little more than Kevorkian.
Yeah.
We actually start the episode with Brock tackling hatred in a game of touch football, and they have like a little bit of tension for the rest of the episode. So we thought it was also really cute that according to Hank, he's always on Brock's team, which is so cute, and he just keeps getting older and older, and he still seems completely enamored with Brock, which is just adorable.
He's just his hero for Evs.
Yeah, I know, for Evs. And speaking of his hero, the game gets cut short because Brock feels that someone is in his car, or to be more specific, his 69 Charger, and so he has to take off to go investigate, and Hank apparently says that he can do that from a country away. Which
is kind of amazing.
Which Shortleaf deems an
actual superpower.
Yeah, which I agree.
I do too. If you know somebody's in your car from a country away, you have superpowers.
Yeah.
Agreed. So we totally thought, by the way, that it was Molotov in his car. Yeah. We were like, it's Molotov, it's Molotov. It wasn't. Turns out it's what appears to be a suicidal Dr. Venture. So he's sitting in Brock's car in the hangar, which, by the way, gonna take forever to kill yourself in there because it's giant. And he's trying various methods, including hanging himself on Orpheus's tie.
That's the one, I think.
But only because the Monarch is using a mind infractor to basically take over his body and his mind and try to get him to kill himself. It's a nefarious scheme. It's kind of a good idea for the Monarch.
Pause.
I feel like
the Monarch.
The
Monarch is in an episode. He is alive. Well, hanging on by a thread, it seems, in every episode.
Yeah.
But still alive. Just gonna throw out how excited we were. So, yeah, unfortunate for the Monarch / faux suicidal Dr. Venture. Brock has apparently turned his car to be all electric.
He went green.
He went green, which I've heard some discussions on the fan sites that aren't super jazzed about that.
I feel like it's because it's so something that you would never expect Brock to do.
Yeah, but he does a lot of things that you wouldn't expect
I know,
Brock to
exactly, which is why it's perfect.
He takes care of the boys,
he
checks
cares.
them for lice, he cares.
Sprays them on their bums with hoses. So when the initial attempts to break through to Doc fail, Dr. Orpheus touches him and realizes that he's actually possessed. And so he is going to break the possession through an incantation / exorcism situation.
Yeah, he thinks it's a demon that's possessing him, which I guess is sort of accurate.
It's a monarch.
Sex demon. So then when that doesn't work, the team goes old school exorcism, trying to rid him of the demon, which includes a Bible on tape narrated by Mr. Darth Vader, which I'm not even going to joke that I've checked it out from the library before. And Shortleaf's 10 rosaries left over from his short-lived ill-conceived Madonna phase, which I would love to see pictures of.
So Dr. Orpheus basically projects himself into Rusty's mind to kind of work out whatever's happening, deal with the problem. Since he has to be perceived as friendly to Rusty's conscience, he has to surround himself. He needs what Rusty loves the most. And what he loves the most in the world is basically going to be the key to his soul's lock. It's problematic.
Yeah. So gird me, as Dr. Orpheus. How was that?
It was good. It was very Orpheus.
Screams, thanks. And So he gets, Hank and Dean, but of course, they're not the key to his soul's lock. And Hank is so cute comforting Dean. Like, it's okay, welcome to my team.
He hugs him, and he has just a little sad face.
So, unless the Rush cassette, was actually the tipping point, but I don't think so. Rush, being, for those who don't know, like myself, is a Canadian rock band, probably best known for their synthesizer period in the 80s. And they actually have a period called the synthesizer period. Enough said.
So after several attempts, Hank is out of the running, and now it's just Dean and a box of Rusty's things, including headshot, signed picture of actress Lonnie Anderson, all the awards, all the money, newspaper clippings, a shoebox of old love letters.
I know. What?
Who was writing him love letters?
And are they just one-sided love letters?
Love letters he wrote to other people that he never sent.
Exactly.
Or that they sent back to him.
Or the Deep Boy's mom's love letters? Probably not.
No.
Actually, something, when I was looking at that still again, there is definitely 90% sure the season 4 part 1 DVD in that box.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's really great. So it works. We get a ticket into Rusty's mind, which happens to look just like a giant computer.
Yeah.
Which is weird because you'd think that he was a robot after venturing around in there, pun intended, except that we went into his actual body in the Magic School Bus episode. My God, we're seeing a lot of the inside of Rusty Venture. What is next?
We've been inside him a lot.
Considering he's been unconscious for a lot of the episodes and out of commission,
half the season.
We sure are learning a lot about him. It's weird.
We sure are.
It's like Dumbledore in the last Harry Potter book. Anyway.
He's guided by White and Billy, who are playing the parts of the Greek mythological figures Eros and Thanatos, which, so Billy's playing sex, and
ironic.
White is playing death.
Yeah.
And Count Freud says, "You two dictate our every action."
Actually, Freud used Eros as a term to describe the life instinct that people have. Also ones like libido and love and all that good stuff. And again, really ironic that it's Billy, considering I'm pretty sure he's still a virgin unless things have happened.
I mean, I'm going to go with virgin.
Yeah. So the coexisting death drive is referred to as Thanatos, which compels humans to towards risky and self-destructive behavior, which was actually a contended Freud theory. End note, Wikipedia.
Also, it's interesting that all of the inhabitants in Dr. Venture's brain call him Rusty,
right?
Or the Rusty.
Right? Because he doesn't like being called Rusty.
So, because the Monarch is bleeping things up in the master controls, Thanatos, Eros, and Orpheus head on over to try to fix things.
But not before the Monarch pulls this major switch in Rusty's brain. And all of the doors of perception open at once. And if you were like us, you went, oh shit, when that happened.
Yeah.
So it turns out that the Monarch has released the Leviathan, aka the beast within us all. As White says, he is why men murder. He is why men make war.
Wow. So this stirs up the dead Hank and Dean clones. And Orpheus thinks they're haunting Dr. Venture's mind, which is actually pretty insightful. Are they actually haunting his mind? Is he, actually in the back of his mind feeling remorse
Guilty.
Or some kind of guilt because he's killed off all of these clones? Well, he maybe should. Because here are the clones that we saw.
Head count.
Head count. Number 1. Pair, mauled Dean and mauled Hank with swollen cheeks. Killed by Scooby-Doo. Number 2. Pair, severed head Dean and severed head Hank, clothesline with heads. Number 3 pair, severed head Dean and severed head Hank, sans heads. Number 4 pair, another mauled Dean with bones showing and another mauled Hank with no eyeball. 5 pair, arrow in the brain Hank and Dean. Oh, I remember that one. 6, single, arrow in the brain Hank and Dean, another one.
Another one!
7 pair, burnt up motorcycle Hank and burnt up motorcycle Dean. The 8th pair, Aquaman Jam Jams Hank and Spider-Man Jam Jams Dean. Gas leak?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pair number 9. Another Spider-Man Jam Jams Dean and another Aquaman Jam Jams Hank. That is not a mistake. That's number 9. Number 10. Burnt to a crisp Dean and burnt to a crisp Hank. Not to be confused with the other burnt ones.
Right.
Number 11. Another pair of burnt Hank and Deans. 12. Green seaweedy Dean and Hank in regular clothes. Pair for 13. Another green and Dean and Hank in swim trunks. Pair 14. The same. Pair 15 is yet another mauled Hank and Dean. Number 16, yet another mauled Hank and Dean of nondescript mallishness.
Wow.
Wow. It doesn't end there.
No.
There are 16 pairs that in this list that we are sure of. However, Rusty's guess way back when was 14. So we counted, that's not even enough of the pairs. We also counted 3 other bloody nondescript Deans that are just like mauled in various ways. The jumping off of the roof, Batman Hank, which who could forget him, and another single Dean, and the Spider-Man Jam Jams.
So if there were 14 pairs, that would be 28. But in the scene with the monarch at the end, there are at least 34 boys.
34!
We counted. By our math, there were 37.
Yeah, that's just kind of everyone who was...
Wow.
Everyone who was present. And there were probably ones off screen, so it's probably going to be like an even number when you're done, but that was everyone I could get for sure. Or we could get for sure.
It was crazy.
Also, most morbid Rose Waldo ever.
Yeah. Anyhow, to avoid the clones, Orpheus, Billy, and White all go into one of the doors of perception because they're trying to not get... They're afraid of the clone zombies.
So, we enter Master Id's Harem, which is aka a rotating bed with all of Rusty's past and present love interests, most of which he's never talked to. But they're all doing like dialogue from a sex line commercial, all voiced by James Urbaniak. It was amazing. I can't even want to know. I want to know what that day in the recording studio was like. But you got Molotov, you got Dr. Mrs., who's married. She's not even Dr. Girlfriend. Sally Impossible, Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman. Myra Brandish, which is like his old bodyguard, but she's not even when she's like at her peak bodyguard. She was like when she kidnapped the boys again, crazy Myra bodyguard. Mm-hmm. And then Dr. Quim, and then the pink-haired nurse from a previous episode.
It looks a heck of a lot like the actual boy adventurer Rusty is convinced that the Rusty could have any one of these ladies, except he just didn't want to.
Yeah. So it's actually interesting that, we don't see Nikki on the bed, also thank goodness, but we don't see the boy's mother, or do we? So to get to the next level, the aide demands to be pleased, which mostly entails the flying baby making sweet sensual love to the Black Spectre. Giggles galore.
It was awkward.
However, they talk it down to a light makeout sesh, which cruelly we are forbidden to even see the slightest hint of.
I know. I like that afterwards. He was like, "You were totally into that. You grabbed my nipple."
Can I side note here and just say how amazing White looked the entire episode? His outfit was so cool.
It was kind of cool. I like the umbrella.
And when his eyes got all black and nifty.
Deathy.
Mm-hmm.
And he went on the tirades.
It was awesome.
So then we enter the Ego's workshop. And Ego, the organized and realistic part of one's mind, is a Geppetto-like figure who's working on a wooden boy, Rusty. Which is weird.
Like little Rusty.
Yeah, like Rusty as a child Rusty.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not even dive into, like, the Rusty that's working on child Rusty. But he can't get the pieces to stay together. They keep falling apart. VidWizard at TVFanatic.com said, "I'm guessing it's a reference to Hank and Dean being clones of Dr. Venture, that he's constantly trying to get it right, but that is only a guess."
Well, since the boy looks just like Rusty as a kid, we also think it might be like a continual struggle situation to feel like a normal, real person in a really
live boy.
Yeah, in a really surreal and fantastical world. But that's also just a guess.